Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Divine Journey. So, since last episode, I've done a bit of work on bridges down through here and on back, as well as adding a couple more floors to this. I haven't closed them in or anything, we'll do that in a speed build, but this floor here is going to be where some circle magic is done, demon summoning, stuff like that, and then down here is going to be automation floor. I also prepped a few things today, the first being a spinning wheel, and we have some quests here completed. Actually, before we do that, I've got, right over here, this refined evil should be done now, and it is. Let's go ahead and grab that, and that'll complete that quest. Okay, so let me just dump this stuff into there, and we'll go ahead and turn these in. Spinning wheel, we get 64 red string and 64 string, which is actually a pretty decent reward because of the red string, kind of. Oil of vitriol, we get 40 black smart cable. Diamond vapor, 40 cyan smart cable. Refined evil, we get 6 machine chassis. Okay? Alright, so the first thing that I want to do today, we're going to get into a bit more automation today. The first thing that I want to start working towards is koboldite. Okay? And, you know, before we grab some... I have to pop over there. Before we grab some kobolds and we set them down, and it was kind of just for fun, letting them mine, and then they ended up breaking away and, and escaping. And of course that's because they break anything that's or dictionary as stone. So they just kind of escaped from us. That's okay. Let me get Jailer Safari Net. There we go. So we got 2 Jailer Safari Nets. Now I will say that chances are I'm probably going to expand on this build. Because we're going to need a lot of koboldite moving forward. Now, you can get this also from trading with kobolds, but it's generally just better to just automate them and let them mine it up for you. Why is there Endermen all over the place? What in the world is this? There's Endermen everywhere. I have no clue. I have no clue why there's Endermen everywhere. That's like the most I've ever seen. Oh, they're everywhere. What is with this? Alright, well anyways, we are looking for some kobolds. Okay, here's one, actually. This one is actually... There we go. No. Accidentally. There we go. Okay, Jailer's Safari Net with a Hobgoblin in it. This one is inside of one of the little Hobgoblin buildings, which is this. And that's kind of where they call home. They're kind of like witches in that regard. Let me go get another Jailer's Safari Net real quick, because I do want 2 to start with today, I do believe. But I'd like to get them started running, and I mean, they're fairly easy to automate. Like I said, we'll expand on it as time goes on, and probably get more because we're going to need koboldite for Draconic Evolution. Okay, and here's another one. So, shift right click, there we go, we got our 2 hobgoblins. Okay, so now we can get started automating these guys. And it's actually fairly simple. One thing that I am going to want, and I think, here we go, we've got some iron ore in here, that's what I want. Just a little bit of iron ore, gold ore, some kind of ore. You can also use stone if you want. The thing about stone, though, of course, is if you use stone and they break the stone, then it's going to become cobblestone, then you have to smelt it. Because cobblestone doesn't really produce much in the way of koboldite. So you want to go with something that's a bit more reliable, that it doesn't break down. I also got a builder here. We're going to be using a builder. You can do this with an autonomous activator or otherwise. And then let me get a tesseract, because I am going to want a little bit of power for the builder, as well as I'm going to want an induction smelter. And I'll tell you what, let me go pop in here. I want to craft up an induction smelter. Just a basic one is fine. I don't foresee us needing more than a basic. Okay, so there's a basic induction smelter. I'm also going to want a vacuum chest, not a problem. And then let's get ourselves just some Minecraft fences, and let's also get some, we're just going to go with oak, and I might chisel it as well. Let me get a little bit of that, and give me an ender chest as well. Okay, and let's go set this thing up. And basically what we're going to do, we're going to put the kobolds back down here, you know, in our little kobold area. And I think I'm actually going to dig them into the ground, in fact. I actually still got this ender chest down here. Let me actually light this up a little bit. And I'll just take this ender chest. That works. Put that stuff back. Okay, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these guys... yeah, I guess we're going to put them back in this little area. So this is mainly just a decorative front, but we'll stick our little kobold work area back here. So what we're going to do, let's just dig down like that, and then what I'll do is over here. Let me pull that up. And we'll put another kobold work area down in there. We're going to dig it down. It's just going to be a 3x3 inside of here. And then I'll do another one right down in there. This is just for starters. I'm going to do 2 kobolds per pit. Okay? So we'll do like that for right now. And then I may expand it, you know, on back and everything. And let me actually just grab this. We don't really need this here. Okay, and so what I want to do is, let's pull out the floor, and let me grab our chisel here. I think we're going to chisel this wood. And we'll go with some, like, disarray oak. And we'll go ahead and just throw that down. The kobolds aren't going to be able to break anything that's not ore dictionaried as stone. So this will work just fine. Let me light this up. And then I'm going to go ahead and break all of these out. Okay, so there we go. And then what I want to do is these little walls here, I'm going to break these. And I think I want to use a different block. Maybe go with the blinds, I think. It's not going to be anything too fancy. This is just going to be kind of hidden back in this little section here. So these are just little work pits. That's all these are. So okay. So we got something like that laid out. And then what I want to do is these inner walls here, I want to change these over real quick. And there we go. That's just so that they can't escape. You know, they can't dig their way out or anything like that. They're pretty much going to be trapped inside of here. I mean, you can use dirt if you want to, but we're going to go with this. And then I'm going to do a top layer with some glass above it so we can kind of look down on them. And the top layer won't be oak. It'll be something, you know, something else. So anyways, what I want to do is I'm going to take our fences and I'm going to put these just right like that. Right on top of where I put the lantern in the middle, or the blood lamp. We'll just do like that. Okay, and then what we want to do is we're going to set up our builder. And I'm going to put 1 builder for every 4 of these. Will work perfectly fine. And what I want to do is I want to set the builder up... Tell you what, actually, if I put the vacuum chest right there, this should be able to pull items, no problem. If I was to take, say, this iron, it should pull it through the walls. It does. Okay, so we can keep the vacuum chest kind of hidden, and we'll just set it right in there, which is going to work perfectly. Let me get some conduits, and let me also get some filters. Let me get, like, I don't know, 2 of those. Something. Actually, I really only need 1 of them. Or no, I'll use 2 of them. Alright, and our tesseract is done. Let me grab that. And what I want to do is, let's see, right under here. I'm actually going to go underneath here. Right here. What I want to do is I'm going to put an item conduit, and we're going to say that you can extract always active, and we are going to put in a filter, and we're going to blacklist iron ore. Okay, so everything but iron ore can go through here, and then what we'll do is we'll just set up our ender chest right there. We'll say that you can insert. Okay, and it's that simple. And then what we need to do is, let me replace this. And we're going to put an item conduit coming out of the top. And we're going to say that you can extract always active with a filter only iron ore. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And then what we'll do is we'll set up a builder right there. And then let's see. I want to, let me get a card. I actually want a shape card. I'm going to need some paper stacks. I'm going to need a advanced card. There we go. There's our shape card. Okay, and what we're going to do is we'll just right-click the builder, and then we are going to right-click, actually just grab a block here. And we're going to say everything from here over to here. Okay, and new settings copied to the shape card, and we'll just insert that. Okay, and let me go ahead and grab these. And if we set preview, you can see it's going to build right there and right here. Okay, and then we'll just remove the preview, and we'll start with this side over here. Actually, let me go ahead and take the Tesseract. This is going to set right here, and we're going to say this is going to be mob farms, fine. Configuration, block items, block fluids, receive energy. Okay, and remember this floor is going to be one higher than where these oak are, so the Tesseract's going to be in the middle. It's going to be visible. I could always do a pillar coming up as well, which would look alright, but we'll see. We shall see. And then we're just going to go ahead and release, oh, let me get lassos. Or it's not a lasso, is it? It's a lead. Yeah. These right here. And what I need, 4 string and a slime ball. Alright, let's go ahead and get ourselves our lead. There we go. And now we're all set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our kobolds, and I'm going to set one down, like right there, and we'll just hook him with the lasso, and then we'll put another one down, like right there, and hook him with the lasso as well. Okay, and then all we have to do is let's get our pickaxe. Oh, I thought I had diamond pickaxes automated. Alright, let's go ahead and get ourselves 2 diamond picks, and we'll just hand these over to our kobolds. Oh, whoops. Whoops. Oh, I broke both of them. My bad. There you go, and it's not really what I meant to give you. I meant to give you a diamond pick. Okay, they're both hooked up to that same fence, and then there's a diamond pick, and there's a diamond pick. Okay, so they're both equipped now. And then all we have to do is, let me pop, actually want to go down here with the, there we go, with the vacuum chest, and I'm just going to drop in some iron ore, and there we go. Oh yeah, I'm going to need to give this a redstone signal. You know what? I actually want to switch this around. Let me grab the Tesseract. Grab the builder. Let me grab this. And this. And this. Yeah. Well, I want the... Okay, yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the vacuum chest right there. We'll put our item conduit right there. This is blacklist iron. Yeah. I'll say insert, and then it's kind of derping there for a second. And we'll just put the builder down here. This will be fine. So we got the vacuum chest right there. Let me actually change out the filter. Instead of the extract, we're going to have it on the insert. Insert everything but iron ore. We'll have the item conduit come out. Let me get just a chest. And then we'll put our chest right here. We'll put our filter, insert, and whitelist iron ore. And then we'll put our builder down right there. And let me see. I believe that Yeah, that's been moved. Okay. So let me grab our card back out and shift right click. Shift right click and then go over to here. Shift right click. Okay. Okay, so then we'll just put that in there. Let's check our preview. Perfect. And our kobolds are climbing on top of it. That's cool. Alright, and then what I want to do is, let's go put fences right over this. Just because I don't want the kobolds climbing it. It's not really a big issue if you don't have the fences here. I just don't want them able to climb on top of the ores that we're putting down. Alright, so there we go. And I guess this... I'm going to raise this floor, but I'm going to go ahead and cover that in just so I don't step in the hole. And that's really it. So the iron will get pumped into this chest. And then all we need to do is get our iron ore. You know what? I got to go get some new iron ore now. Because that got dumped in the system and then, of course, it got smelted. Okay, we should have the iron ore that we need. There's 15. Oh, and there's 23. Okay. So we are all set on iron. And, alright, I just gotta find the exit right up here. Is this it? Yeah, okay. My mind's a mess thanks to Vein Miner, so it is. It's a total mess. I'm just gonna throw all 23 of the iron in there because, it's fine. That way I have a little bit extra for, you know, whenever stuff's being moved around and whatnot, it can go ahead and start placing. Okay, and then let me break that for just a moment. And I'm just going to dump the iron into this chest. And then let me replace the block here on the wall. Let's see, let's give it a lever. There we go, and you'll see that it placed the iron ore, and then our kobolds are going to go over there and they're going to start mining it. And it's going to get pulled right back in the system, and it's going to get replaced. Let me actually pull off my ring of magnetization for right now. I'm going to have to make a Solignolia and put it down here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? There's one setting we need to change on the builder here, and that is do a single run and stop. Let's change this to keep running with redstone signal. Okay? And then let me just reapply the redstone signal. Oh. Well, one kobold died. Oh, is it not grabbing? Is the vacuum chest not grabbing it through that? Because... Okay, let me raise the vacuum chest by 1, in fact. So we'll put the vacuum chest right there. Now it's getting the iron. And we'll say extract. Okay, so it just pulled out. You see a cobalt dust, or koboldite dust that just got pulled out. That is what we're after. That little blue dust. I am going to have to get him a new partner. To replace. It shouldn't be a problem though, like right now, because this builder is going to replace items faster than the kobolds will be able to move into that area. Okay, and having the fences on the top, I mean, it prevents them from being able to get on top. Why are you fighting with me so bad right there? The vacuum chest should be able to get it. I may need to raise it by 1 though. So I'll put the vacuum chest all the way up at the top. And then we'll put that there. Extract. Let me take off this ring of magnetization because it's going to... There we go. Now hopefully this will work as intended. I may change the vacuum chest over for like a hopper hawk. Or, I mean, I could remove these and it would work perfectly fine. And there's no really downside to it. I might do that. Because they're not going to be able to climb up in there. I mean, you could say they just hang out and mine. And it replaces it immediately. And, I mean, the reason he was getting smashed, or the reason they were, like, stopping mining and getting smashed was because it ran out of iron, and then it got iron, and then it replaced it, which shouldn't be an issue now. And I'll probably add more ore into the system, so to make sure that doesn't happen, make sure there's always blocks placed there. But just as a heads up. Okay. So I need to go out and get a new kobold now. But if we take a look inside of here, kobold, you can see we've got 2 koboldite dust. Okay, let me go get another kobold. And this is something, I think with all 4 of those set up with like 2 kobolds each, all 4 of those running, we should produce a decent amount of koboldite. But when I was setting up in my test world, I just threw 64 iron in there. So of course it didn't run out. That is something to be aware of. So I'd wait and place your kobolds last. Don't do like me and do it like mid setup and then change the setup and all that. Yeah. If you don't want the little blocks open at the top there, you could just as easily go with a hopper hawk, and it would pick up the stuff, and of course it teleports blocks. Like, it grabs them and it doesn't actually have to pull them. So you could easily go with the hopper hawk. And there's a vacuum hopper, but it has to pull as well. So, but yeah, I'd probably go with the hopper hawk from Britannia if you want to keep that closed in. But okay, so one more of those guys. Let's drop them into there, and let me get I have to get my new diamond pick. Got to hit the bottom of the fence, by the way. Okay, so there we go. We got our 2 hobgoblins working, and everything should be good. Okay, and if we take a look in here, we have 4 koboldite dust. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to let these guys run, and is this area chunk loaded? It is. Okay, that's perfect. So let's pop up here, and they should run. They shouldn't have any problems running. Shouldn't. And like I said, we'll add more as needed. So we'll probably start with 4 setups, and then if we need more of them, then we'll add more of them. Let's see, this induction smelter, I think I'm actually going to put it up here. This area here. 7 of 32. We've got 19 of 32. 5 of 32. So let me grab this koboldite dust. And I'm also going to want, let me see, is it gypsum? I think. Yeah, it's gypsum that we have to run this with. Now, in like standard witchery, you can trade this with kobolds to get your koboldite ingots, or your nuggets. But in this pack, you can also use the induction smelter, which is what we're going to do. And I'm going to put the induction smelter... Actually, I think I'm going to just put it right over here. Let's see. No, actually, I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to tell this to keep gypsum, keep like, I don't know, 12 in stock or something. And then koboldite dust, we'll say keep all you've got. We'll say 64. Really, I mean, there's never going to be more than like none koboldite dust in the system. I don't think there's any use for koboldite dust, yeah, aside from making the nuggets. So there's no reason in saving it, honestly. And then what we're going to do is let's get ourselves, let's get a couple filters here. I don't need nearly that many, but that's fine. I think 2 should be good. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to use 2. And we're going to say you can insert this slot on the left side. The back slot is going to cover this slot. And then what we'll do is we'll say you can insert with a filter koboldite dust. And we'll pull that out. Okay, so koboldite dust is coming in. And how much do we have? We've got 10 at the moment. And then right back here, we're going to set another one up. We're going to say you can insert with a filter gypsum. Okay, and we'll go ahead and grab that out. And this should be able to request gypsum because I do have gypsum. Did I not automate gypsum? Oh, that's right. It only comes from the distillery with the foul fume and quicklime. Okay, we're going to be automating the distillery. I was thinking it was quicklime that it was wanting. Never mind. That's fine. That's fine. Because this stuff's going to go pretty far, honestly. Okay, and then we just have to run some power over to this. Let's go with energy conduits. And I don't have to worry about, like over here I've got all this redstone set up. I don't have to worry about it with this. No, wrong conduit. we are just needing to run energy. I'm actually going to run it over. I get a couple more conduits here. Alright, we'll just run it over like that. Okay, so what's going to happen is this is going to start running. Yeah, it's running. It's just very, very slow. But like I said, it's not really a problem because it's only going to need to run every 9 koboldite. And I need to go check on the hobgoblins because they should be producing. But there we go. We got some koboldite nuggets. I was thinking that this... Oh, it's 4 at a time. I was thinking it was 9 at a time. Okay, so that produces koboldite nuggets. And then what I want to do is I want to set up a compacting drawer for these. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock that in. We'll put koboldite nuggets in there. That makes nuggets, ingots, blocks. Okay. And then all we have to do is... Let me get... it's going to be a while before we actually need upgrades in this. But 1, 2, 3, 4... Just to go ahead and have that out of the way. Okay. So, and I'm not going to worry about the void upgrade right this second. And then all we have to do is extract this from here. And... Okay, we did get another koboldite nugget. So... They are producing, it's just not, they're not the fastest in the world. It takes them a little while sometimes. What we'll do is we'll say the bottom side, you can output, and then all we got to do is say extract's always active, and insert. Okay, and there we go. And now if we look in here, we have our first koboldite ingot. Okay. And let me go check on them real quick, just to make sure that everything's running as intended, everything's running good. Like I said, I mean, it can take them a while to get that dust. I mean, it does take a while. You know what I did not do? Complete the quest. They want us to get 1 koboldite dust. That's fine. I just have to keep an eye on the induction smelter. Okay, one of the hobgoblins died somehow. Tell you what. I don't know if it's because maybe they're climbing on top of that. I'm just going to put fences over the top like that. So, I mean, if it keeps happening, I'll probably end up coming between episodes and just watching this for an extended period of time. I didn't really have any issues with it in my test world, but I wasn't like going off and leaving them. And with this, like, actually in the world, a lot of stuff's happening, so it could take... On occasion, these blocks could take a second to place. The hobgoblin could get in there and then get suffocated. I mean, that one seems to be working fine. That's the one from before. The one I just got, though, died. But anyways, we'll just let him mine away. Now, there is a way that we can speed that up in a minute. And actually, I think there's a quest for it, right? Yeah, there is a quest for it. Okay, adding that second bit of fences there, like that, seems to have done the trick. Okay, they haven't had any more issues. I've had this running for just a little bit. I'm just kind of monitoring it, watching it. So it does seem to be working fine. Like I said, I mean, it worked alright in my test world for a bit, but then again, there's different variables in the actual world. Also, right over here, I did add in a hopper hawk and a solignolia. So, right down there. Hopper hawk is sitting on top of a chest, and solignolia is sitting right on top of that. So, there's a chest right there that the hopper hawk's feeding into, and then it gets filtered down. Okay, so I did change that up a little bit. But, yeah, it seems to be working alright, and, yeah, we've gotten... I think we're actually out of gypsum at the moment, but we do have a bit more koboldite. Also, these quests are done. We have completed those. So, koboldite dust, we get 8 knowledge fragments. Koboldite nuggets, we get 20 filled sockets. And then koboldite ingot, we get 2 compressed capacitors. But you have to pick it, so. So yeah, that part's done. And I'm actually kind of curious. Oh, right here. We need to get 24 filled sockets. We have 20 now from the quest, but... Alright. So let me dump this stuff into here. And so I guess now we have a need for gypsum. Because we're not going to be able to make a koboldite pick. The quest wants us to make a koboldite pick as well as a pinnacle. Pinnacles are 4 ingots. 4 nuggets. That's the next thing that we need for our altar. So we need to automate the distillery. No real way around it at this point. We need to get that done. And I'm actually going to use the distillery that's sitting right here. And there's not really any reason not to. We may set up a manual one later for decoration, but it's an expensive decoration at this point. So I don't want to do that yet. Right down here, this area down here is within range of our altar. And so what I want to do is this distillery, we'll just put it like... Actually, we'll put it right in there. That's good. And then I need some dense black cable. I need a bunch of this. So let me order like 100 of it. We'll get that crafting. And I'm going to run this dense cable down. And I need to get this over to down there. And I'm going to run it up along here because this is going to be covered. And then we'll just run it down along through here and along the side. Let's see. Dense black cable. And I guess we'll run it over like so, and then just straight down and under. And I'll tell you what, actually, let me move... let me move this distillery over to like right here instead. Okay, and so what I want to do is let's get ourselves a chest. And I'll just go with this one. Yeah, that'll be fine. And we're going to have an interface. The interface is going to be feeding into back of our crystal chest. And then let me get, there it is, crescent hammer. We'll just right click the back of that. It feeds into the crystal chest. And then what I want to do is let's get some Fluix cable, plug this up. There we go. Of course, that's going to be facaded. And I actually might... Let's see. No, actually, that's good. That's how I want it. And then what I need is item conduits. And let me get a clay jar. Give me 10 of those. That's fine. And we're going to tell this interface to keep clay jars stocked. Now, you could also set these up as part of the recipe because the distillery... you know, it's 100%. If you say, you know, make me, I don't know, refined evil, for example. If you look at that, you give it 3 clay jars, this is what you're going to get 100% of the time. It's always going to be that way. But I'd rather have the clay jars stocked, and that's just so that, you know, it's less it has to do whenever it comes time to process things, to make things. And then let me get a crafting card. Give me one of those. And put that on there so it can start crafting our clay jars for us. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to pull the items out of this. Extract's always active. Insert into the distillery. And there we go. Clay jars. Now the distillery is not quite as side specific as the witch's oven. So we don't have to worry so much about sides with this. So then what we're going to do, if I recall... I'm actually going to have to check. I know all the sides work fine with the distillery. I'm not for sure about the bottom. Let's see, to make gypsum, for example, that is foul fume and quicklime. So give me quicklime, give me foul fume, throw that into there, and then what I would like to do is pump out the bottom, if we can, and say, you can insert, okay, and there we go. Foul fume and quicklime came into here. And then all we have to do is we can say that you can also extract, say on brown, and you can insert on brown. And you could have the chest out of sight if you wanted. I actually kind of want it visible. And then we'll have like distillery, and then distilleries, and then we'll have this set to... actually, this bottom side, we're going to say round robin enabled. Because long term, I wouldn't mind having like 6 distilleries, because these things are not terribly fast at all. Okay, so far it's running perfectly fine. We're about to get a little bit more crafted, and there we go. And everything gets pulled out, gets dumped in the system. So it's that easy. And then all we have to do is just set up some recipes for this, and we'll be set. Okay, so let's pop over here, and let's make ourselves some recipes. I need to get a terminal set up over there in the witchery area. Alright, so for example, let's take a look at the gypsum. For this, 1 foul fume, 1 quicklime. So let's get foul fume, quicklime, and, oh, you know what? I need gypsum to put in the, because it's going to be a processing pattern. See, that makes oil of vitriol, but I do want some gypsum for this. So let me get quicklime. And the system does know how to make quicklime, so that's not a problem. Foul fume. We should have plenty of oil of vitriol because it's going to be making gypsum so often to make our koboldite. So let me set this to not extract for just a minute. I'll say never active. I'm going to run this together real quick. Get a piece of that gypsum so that way I can set the recipe and then we can throw it back in there. Okay, so there's a piece of gypsum. Then we'll just say that you can extract always active. Okay. And I imagine it's going to be making a lot of gypsum here in just a second because as soon as it's able to, it's going to be kicking that stuff out because it needs to make it for the koboldite to, you know, stock that induction smelter. So it's going to want that, like ASAP. But I do have a feeling we're going to need a lot more kobolds. From what I can tell, because we're going to need that stuff for Draconic Evolution. So that also makes gypsum. Okay, oil of vitriol and gypsum. And then, okay, it's this second crystal chest here. So that's how you make gypsum. And I imagine it's probably going to order some of that. Yeah. So there we go. Just ordered gypsum. That's fine. And we do have our 3 koboldite ingots now. So we'll use those in just a moment. Okay, and then for the other recipes, these are a little bit more straightforward. We should have all this stuff on hand. Tear of the Goddess. Let's see, Tear of the Goddess. This makes... I'm not going to put Whiff of Magic and Foul Fume. We already have better methods to get that. If it needs Whiff of Magic or it needs Foul Fume, we're not going to add those to the recipe because it can do those without having to go through the whole distillery process. So Tear of the Goddess is going to be the only output from this. And it takes Breath of the Goddess and Lapis. And we'll encode. That's why I didn't put slime balls with the gypsum recipe, right? Because that isn't something, that's not our way of making slime balls. But Diamond Vapor. Whoops. Diamond Vapor. And this actually crafts 2 Diamond Vapor. Where's the... Right here. Odor of Purity, 2 Diamond Vapor. It takes a diamond and an oil of vitriol. So we'll just go ahead and put that in. And encode. And then the Refined Evil. To get this, it's 1 Refined Evil, and then you get Reek of Misfortune, Odor of Purity, Foul Fume. We're not going to add any of those 3 to the recipe. So we're going to say that you get a Refined Evil if you give it a Diamond Vapor and a Gas Tear. So, Diamond Vapor and a Gas Tear. There you go. Okay. And that is all of our recipes for right now. So, chest. And we want the crystal chest. There you go. There's how to make all of those things. And then all we have to do is take our Refined Evil, our Oil of Vitriol, and our Diamond Vapor. What was the other thing that we put in that chest? I can't remember. Oh, I don't have that chunk loaded. I need to chunk load that. Let me grab those. And let me get a chunk. I'm sorry. Dimension. Okay. We'll just put this down on the bottom floor here. And we need to come out. We're going to set this to a 5x5 square. That's going to cover all of that, which works out. So, okay. That's chunk loaded. We shouldn't have that flickering anymore. And, let's see, the distillery is going, it's making gypsum, so I can't complain. Alright, before we mess with the koboldite, because that stuff has been building up, we've got 3 ingots. It's going to take a little while to get a stockpile. I need to get, 6 more hobgoblins set up at least. Like I said, we're probably going to end up adding more to that. But, yeah, so we've got 9 gypsum built up now. But it is going to run for a while, you know, passively, and it's going to build up and everything, so should be good on that. Let's go upstairs here, and I want to add Refined Evil. We'll go ahead and set it to 64. Oil of Vitriol. I'm definitely going to need more distilleries, though. Like, I mean, well, after this runs for a while, it's going to take a while for this to build up a stack of all of these. It really, really is. The coke oven's not too bad. Or, not the coke oven, but the witch's oven. That one didn't take too long, but these are definitely going to take a while. So it now knows to keep 64 of all of those in stock. And it's going to start building up those buffers that we need. Oh, you know what I didn't think about, though? Let me... Okay, I changed this up slightly, and that's due to the fact that I wasn't thinking, I was derping, and I was setting it up like the witch's oven, and it's a little bit different since we have the two items to deal with. Instead of having it pump into the chest, I've just got it pumping straight into the distillery, and then I've got it extracting from the side. It has to extract out of a side and not the bottom. So I've got it extracting out the side, inputting through the bottom, and then of course the interface, it's all plugged up the same. It's pulling out the clay jars and pumping in the items. So, and then what I'll do is I'll just do multiple interfaces feeding into the multiple distilleries, just like we have over there with the alloys, how it handles those alloys. You know, it's going to spread it across those, you know, whatever interfaces there are, it's going to spread it across the different distilleries once we plug up more of those. So that's just much easier, and it'll handle it correctly. So I might move the cables around a little bit. We'll see, but I don't know. I think this will be good. And then we'll have like distillery, and then I'll probably stack them, I think. So yeah, that'll work. So just a slight adjustment there. I was derping when I was setting it up. I apologize. I wasn't thinking. Okay, so now that that's running, the next quest here, they want us to make a koboldite pickaxe, and these are actually kind of nice because if we give these to our hobgoblins, they're going to produce more koboldite. So it's better for us in the long run to go ahead and get these. Oh, but they take a charge of tombstones. Okay, yeah, we're not ready for that. That's circle magic. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a Pinnacle. I may have to let that run for just a moment. Because to make the Pinnacle, which is going to help us boost our altar power, the Essentia is minute. We have all this stuff, plenty of it. We're going to need a diamond lattice, 4 koboldite ingots, 4 Cobaltite Nuggets. And how are we doing on that koboldite? We've got 3. And then I need this. We've got the nuggets. We need 1 more ingot, so 2 more batches of koboldite before we can craft that. So I'm going to let this run for just a minute, and then I'll be back once we get that other ingot that we need. Okay, it's been a little while since I last cut. While I was waiting for that kobold to get built back up, I actually changed up our original setup. And that's because, like, I had the 2 hobgoblins down that pit. Well, I noticed that they would work fine. They would work fine whenever I was standing here. But if I went off and left this area, like, of course, it's still chunk loaded, but when I would leave this area, my hobgoblins, one of them would die. And I think what was happening was one of the hobgoblins was pushing the other one into the blocks. You know, like entity collision, they can push through blocks. It's a common issue even in vanilla Minecraft with like sheep. Sheep are really bad about pushing baby sheep and other sheep through fences and stuff like that. And I think that's what was happening was the hobgoblins were getting pushed into the iron, which was causing them to suffocate, and they were dying. Okay, so what I did was I actually just blocked these off, and we have it set up. Each one has their own iron ore, and it's just split down the middle. Okay, so there's actually 8 hobgoblins, 8 little setups here for each setup. Okay, because this is actually a good size that fits in with the Hopperhawk and the Solignolia, and the builder works great. It works. So I'll probably just duplicate this setup for expanding this. Okay. So aside from that, it's all the same, except it's just 1 iron ore that they're mining on instead of the 3 that they had option to mine. Because the builder replaces it fast enough, the hobgoblins don't step in there. You know, if we were using something that's a little bit slower to place the blocks, one issue is that hobgoblins like to stand inside that block space. And they'll cause it to kind of get stuck. So you want multiple options. Well, the builder, it replaces it as soon as it breaks, like instantaneously. So we don't have to worry about the hobgoblins getting in there. And then I put, you know, I've got the fences there on top of the block and then one out that they're lassoed to in that center. And that way they can't get on top of the iron or anything like that. Like they have to stay right there in front of the iron and just mine it. Okay, and it seems to be working perfectly fine. It seems to be working great. If we take a look at koboldite, we have 12 ingots at the moment, or 108 nuggets. It's working great. One other change that I did do, we had that basic induction smelter. I had a bit of time while I was waiting for that stuff to build up and kind of keeping an eye on the kobolds, and I went ahead and updated it to a resonant induction smelter. Okay, because I am going to add some augments to it. I haven't yet, but I am going to. We're out of gypsum again. Bah. That's one thing. It's going to take a little while for that gypsum to get built up. I'm going to need to craft more distilleries. Hands down, I'm going to have more of those for this setup to really run, especially if we expand it. Like, we're going to have so much koboldite dust coming in, we're going to have to expand that setup. Like, there's no real way around it. But right now, I mean, we're getting enough koboldite for our needs. But anyways, if we take a look at the Pinnacle, diamond lattice, 4 nuggets, 4 ingots, and we can get our Pinnacle. And I do want to go ahead and get that going. It's going to take a second to craft it, of course. So let's go ahead, lay this out, and we'll get this at least started. And then we're going to need our wand, and pow. Now, we're not going to be able to turn this quest in yet, and that's because we need the koboldite pick first before they'll let us get the Pinnacle. But I will say that honestly, those 8 kobolds, once we upgrade them to koboldite pickaxes, we're going to have a fair amount of koboldite coming in. So, and it's definitely something we're going to have to expand on that setup for the gypsum. Add more distilleries, like probably by the end of it, quite a bit of distilleries to keep up with the amount of gypsum that we're going to need. But we should have plenty of oil vitriol, like all the time. So, anyways, I'll be back once this is done and whatnot. Okay, it has been a while since I last cut, and I actually ran into some issues. And I think next episode we are going to set up the advanced alchemical construct. Okay, because I'm having an issue. Well, for one, it started seizing up in the Stormcraft area, like really bad. And that was after a crash that I had. I'm actually, if I go back here, it's going to start seizing up even more. And you can see I get those big lag spikes, like semi-regularly. I actually broke these off. And I know we lost the recipes that were in them whenever I broke it off. But, well, I'll go over that in just a second. I also broke off all of this. I broke all this off, and it seems to fix a lot of the seizing up, because it was seizing up for like, well, here it goes. Yeah, it's doing it. It's like 15 seconds of just pure lag, just seized up. And it started happening after a crash. It just crashed. I was just over in the Thaumcraft area. I was just standing there and I was editing some footage. I tabbed back over and it crashed. Before that, it wasn't seizing up at all. Then it started, as soon as I got back in, which it actually took quite a few crashes to get back in because of the issue with the alchemical constructs. If those are running and you shut down the pack or you crash out of the pack, you try to restart it, you'll get a crash cycle and you'll have to restart the pack like 7 or 8 times before it'll finally actually start without crashing. And then after I'd finally got back in after that, then it started doing that seizing up thing, like the really bad, like 15 seconds. And it would do it like every, you know, it would like 15 seconds of like seized up lag. And then it would run for like maybe 20 seconds and seize up again. And it's mainly whenever I'm over there in the Thaumcraft area. And so I ended up breaking the cable off for the alchemical construct. So none of them are running at the moment. Plus I was having an issue with like Gellum. Gellum's automated. And we've been running through Gellum with the quicklime, making the quicklime. And we're out of Gellum right now. But instead of sending to make more Gellum, it just stopped. It just stopped up. I don't know. It's acting up over there. So I think what we might do is move over to the alchemical or the advanced alchemical construct, and do distillery or distillation patterns instead of having the multiple alchemical constructs. I like having them. I think they look cool. I'll probably leave them still set up like for decorative purposes, but I'm going to break all the cables down from those, I do believe. And that's just because it's acting up so bad over there. And then when I finally got back from the crashing, my alchemical constructs had lost all their recipes. Like they had just been wiped clean. They still had the items in there for whatever they were crafting. They still had the essentia for what they were crafting. You know, they were crafting quicklime, but they've lost all their recipes. So I'm going to have to reconfigure all of that. I don't know. I don't know what the issue was. But the kobolds are running perfectly. And they are running great. If we take a look at koboldite, we have 55 ingots. So, good stuff. So probably next episode, we probably will spend a little bit of time with Thaumcraft. Probably not the whole episode, but mainly just working with the advanced alchemical furnace because we haven't set that up on camera. But anyways, our Pinnacle is done. That did get crafted. And if we take a look in here, which is which, I want to make sure, I know we can't turn this quest in, but I wanted to make sure it counted it. And it did. So what we'll do is we'll just put the Pinnacle down. We're at 15,990 times 6, and now we are at 15,990 times 12. And of course that's not multiplying the altar power, that's multiplying the charge rate. But okay, so now that that's done, I think we have time this episode to finish up our current altar work, which is Redstone Soup. We need to make a drop of luck, which this requires Mutandis Extremis, Refined Evil, Tear of the Goddess, Netherwort, Mandrake Root. Okay, so let's get this crafted up. So we'll start with Netherwort, Mutandis, or regular Mutandis. We're going to get our Mutandis Extremis. Oh, I knew, like I was trying to hold off to see how the alchemical constructs are doing because every once in a while, you know, they would act up, but they got to where they weren't acting up. But ever since, why'd I get 2 Mutandis? Not actually sure. Anyways, let's go ahead and throw this stuff in. That. And that's going to start crafting. And we're going to get our drop of luck. Which this is something we're going to have to automate this pretty soon as well. As well as the kettle. Which we haven't even got into the kettle yet. Alright, so there is our drop of luck. And that completes this quest. We get 3 factory machine blocks. Now we're just going to go ahead and dump these into the system. Whoops, that's made in the kettle. My bad. I'm so derping today. It's terrible. It is terrible. That's made in the kettle, which we'll get the... I'm going to get the kettle made between this episode next, I do believe. I think the essentia that it needs... Yeah, I should still be good on that stuff. I just don't have Gellum, and I think that's the main thing. Maybe for Frodio, I might be low on. But everything else we should be good on. So, yeah, I'll get that crafted between episodes. But next episode, we'll get the kettle up and going. We'll get our Redstone Soup, and we will work on the Advanced Alchemical Construct, for sure. But one other thing that I would like to do today, before we even get into the kettle, that's why I've got this. I feel like the spinning wheel comes before the kettle. And the reason being, if we set this up, this does require altar power, but we'll put that right there. And what I want to make is, there's actually a quest here for it. The Witch's Robes and the Witch's Hat. These are like your starting kettle equipment. And the Witch's Hat, you'll notice it says 35% chance of second brew. And the Witch's Robe, 35% chance of second brew except necromantic. And creepers will ignore the wearer when you're wearing the robe. And what that means is that if we have both of these pieces on, we're going to get a 75% chance to get a second brew. So in the case of, say, like the Redstone Soup, you only get 1 Redstone Soup. But if you're wearing this, you're going to have a 70% chance to get a second one. So, and there's ways to upgrade that even further. So to do this, we're going to have to make impregnated leather. And this stuff, you'll notice, I mean, it's not terrible. I've got treated leather, automated, whiff of magic, diamond vapor. All that stuff's automated. But it is a little bit... There's a little bit to it. Let me go ahead and order 3 more of this treated leather. Anyways, 4 diamond vapor, 4 whiffs of magic, 4 treated leather, and then we just have to actually go run this to the Runic Altar. And this does require a bit of mana. We'll just pop down here, and 4 treated leather, 4 whiffs of magic, 4 diamond vapor, and that's going to start running. And, oh no, it doesn't take that much mana. It's always hard to tell how much mana it takes, because in the pictures it looks like it takes like nearly a full thing, but I think what it displays is the diluted mana pools instead of like the standard mana pools, so I think that's why. Okay, so our leather, we have our first impregnated leather, and then let's just pop over here. We're going to turn it into a recipe. Alright, so that makes 1 impregnated leather, and we'll just go ahead and encode that, and then, let's see, it should be the one right here with the runes, because we got a couple of those. We'll drop it right into there, and to make the witch's stuff, how many of these are we going to need in total? There's 4, so we're going to need 11 impregnated leather. Then there's also nullified leather after that. Brew bag, okay. Alright, so our leather, go ahead and give me 10 more of those. Okay, should be able to craft that. And then, while that's crafting, now we get to use the spinning wheel. So, that's why I went ahead and prepped the spinning wheel, because I didn't figure we were going to get into the kettle today, because we had all that koboldite stuff and the distillery and stuff to mess with. And I want to get the witch's robes and stuff. I don't even want to bother with brews until we have that, at least that chance to get a second brew. So, alright, but then if we take a look at the, let's see, let's pull up the witch's stuff again. There is also this golden thread that we need. We need 3 pieces of it in total, and this crafts 3. A hay bale and a whiff of magic in the spinning wheel. So let's go ahead and get ourselves the hay bale and the whiff of magic. And then what we can do is just drop this in here. Actually, what all? Fanciful thread, tormented twine. Yeah, we'll probably automate this later. Alright, so we'll drop the hay bale in there, and then the whiff of magic, and you'll notice that this is going to start running. Okay? And what all... Let's see, what all uses do we have for this stuff? Yeah, there's really not much else, aside from that witch's stuff, and then the necromancer stuff later on. Alright, so there is our golden thread. Okay, and since we got that, we're also going to need to get ourselves a creeper heart, which these just drop from creepers. We have a ton of them. And then our leather that we ordered, 11 of those. And, oh yeah, and I think glowstone, right? Like 1 piece of glowstone. Alright, then let's take a look at the witch's robes. We'll go ahead and grab that, and then the witch's hat. There's that. Okay, so that stuff is done, and we can turn these quests in. That one we get no reward, and in the witch's hat we get a place and right click me. Just, well, I think it's, okay, it's called place and right click me. It's a witch trophy, which we have a few of these, actually. And there we go. Get witched. That's different than the normal one, isn't it? Or are they... I don't usually put those... Okay, they're always that way. Okay, and then if we were to take this stuff and we threw it on... I'll show you what we look like. I'm actually going to take these off just so you can kind of see it a little bit better. I actually quite like this, because with our monocle and everything, and like the skin I've got, like it, I don't know, it looks pretty cool. Plus we have that little belt on from the Traveler's Belt from Tinker's Construct. We have that on. I think it looks pretty cool, actually. If I didn't have to wear this other stuff for armor, I would totally just run around like this. This pack doesn't have, yeah, it doesn't have cosmetic armor, does it? Oh, I would totally rock that stuff for cosmetic armor if I could. And this stuff is mainly going to be for brewing purposes. So we'll just, I'm just going to keep it on me right now. And once we set down the kettle, I'll probably set up a little armor stand for it. And then we're going to have to make the Necromancers Robes. Because you'll notice that this says, except Necromantic. So Necromantic brews, you know, they're different than standard brews. Necromantic is a little bit darker of a brew, so to speak. A little bit darker magic. And the standard Witch's Robes won't work for that. So most of Witchery is more Wiccan than anything. It's a lot of like nature magic and stuff. So that knocks that out. And really, I mean, this like big half of the quest book we've almost knocked out. Like, we're about to get that. We're about to get that next episode. And then we'll probably start circle magic pretty soon because I would like to start moving towards the koboldite pick. And circle magic right here, ritual chalks, we're going to start making this stuff. And that's really going to open up a lot of the rest of witchery for us, is getting into circle magic. So I think that's the next big step. I'm just trying to get some things automated as we go. So the spinning wheel, I believe you can automate these. I've never actually even bothered because you don't use them that much. Yeah, I'm sure you can just automate it. We'll probably automate that at some point just for the sake of it, but from what I can tell, there's nothing that the spinning wheel makes, like the fanciful thread, the tormented twine, or the golden thread. None of those that are specific to the spinning wheel that we're going to need anytime for like full automation. So from what I could tell, I mean, there's nothing in there that we'll really have to have automated. So I don't know if we'll even bother with a spinning wheel. Mainly just for getting the witches stuff is the main thing. And then some dreamcatcher type stuff a little bit later on, but nothing too elaborate. So, but anyways, we do need to get the witch's cauldron automated, and we need to get the kettle automated. I think is our next steps as far as automation. But next episode, our focus will be getting into the kettle and then working with a little bit of Thaumcraft, because I do think I want to make, I've been on the fence about it. I do think we're going to upgrade to the advanced alchemical furnace, just because I can do less cables, and I'm hoping that breaking down those cables will fix up the seizing up issue, I think. Plus, it'll be a little bit easier to add the rest of the Essentia that we don't already have. We have most of it, but there are some things that we need to add. On the topic of Essentia, last episode, I totally wasn't thinking with the Gula. Cookies and cakes are also good sources of Gula, so it's like gluttony. So, because I know a few of you mentioned in the comments and on Discord about Gula for cookies and cakes. So yeah, I totally wasn't thinking about it, but it's actually been a while since I've done any Thaumcraft. So, anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. I'm gonna try to get that seizing up issue. I'm gonna try restarting my computer and stuff and see if maybe that fixes it. Like after I load back in. That's not after like just crash after crash after crash, and maybe that'll fix it, but I don't know. Next episode, like I said, we'll cut down a lot on those cables by cutting down on those advanced alchemical constructs, or cutting down on those standard alchemical constructs. Like I said, I am going to keep those there for decor. I think they look cool in that room, but we are going to update to advanced alchemical construct, which will cover the distillation pattern encoder and all that next episode alongside that. And then we'll get back into a bit more witchery and continue working through this, get into the kettle, get the redstone soup, get the field chalice, and then depending where we're at, we might start getting into circle magic next episode, or it might be the episode after. So we shall see. So kettle is also going to open up this, which is exciting, the dream worlds. So that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure to hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos come out. Sorry again about the derps when it came to setting up the distillery, and as well as starting. I was like, I made the drop of luck, and I was like, all right, Redstone Soup, and I was like, oh yeah, kettle. So, kind of derped right there too, but yeah. Also, the kobolds, they've been running. I mean, this episode has actually taken a while to record because I kept cutting and letting stuff run for a while, and then all that issue with Thaumcraft. Those kobolds have been running for like 2 hours, and I mean, they're running great right now. So there's been no issues. None of them have died. That's all it was kobolds were pushing other kobolds into the iron and killing them. So they were a little bit of homicidal down there, but now they seem to be working fine. We're getting tons of koboldite coming in. Man, this seizing up is something else, I tell you. 67 koboldite ingots at the moment. I mean, that's great. It's great. Which I haven't added any augments to this. I don't think we're gonna have to add augments until we get to the point where we're using koboldite picks, because I mean, you can see it's keeping up. We've got 28 gypsum, and I mean, it's keeping up on the koboldite dust, so it's not backing up at all. But once we start getting into koboldite picks and give those to them, we're going to be getting even more koboldite dust coming in, so we probably will have to add augments. But I think with augments, I think one induction smelter is going to be more than enough. So I think we'll be okay on that. And then we'll be using a lot of this cobalt or koboldite for this right here, draconic cores. I think is the main thing moving forward that we're going to be using a lot of. And that requires that draconium, shiny pearls, which that's Vethia, which we'll get into that before too long. Necromantic shards, critter snares for bats, those aren't too bad. And then lamb crystals. Oh, we can duplicate those. Okay. Let's say lamb crystals are going to be interesting to try to automate, because these require cooked lamb chops, which is, you have to kill stuff as a werewolf, but yeah, since we can duplicate those. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to update our mob spawning. I'm probably going to start changing over to Ender IO spawners, because we're going to need, like, all of these. Though, really, I mean, that's not bad. Like, one each, yeah. But, anyways, that's actually going to be really easy to automate. But we'll get into that stuff before too long. We have to become a werewolf before we can get our first lamb chops. But then, once we do that, we can duplicate them. So, and that's probably what we'll be doing. Because there's really no way other than the infusion altar to automate getting those lamb chops, because you have to kill stuff as a werewolf. You have to kill sheep as a werewolf. So, but anyways, we'll get into that later. That's not too far into the future, really. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions about the stuff we covered today, do let me know, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. If you have any questions about the kobolds or anything like that, let me know. They are running great, like I said. They're just down there mining away. But anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.